This is what Boosie had posted. I think Cassie and her husband masterminded this takedown of Diddy and his money. I think her husband had trying to get her to do this for years to Diddy, but she didn't want to do it because she knew what will come out. Then, as a couple, y'all became broke. Now the plot becomes realer by the month. I think the last straw was the Diddy and Carisha relationship. When she saw Carisha with that sign supporting her man at the awards, that did it. A woman scorned is a dangerous, evil mother effer. What do you guys think about what Boosie had to say about this whole Cassie and her husband and this plot against Diddy? I'm gonna go ahead and start with you first, True.
I agree with Boozy. I mean, he can be poetic in a lot of the things he delivers, but it's just messy. It's real messy. One day Cassie was not famous. Now she's infamous for some nonsense. So I agree. I think it's a money grab, and unfortunately, Diddy is a part of the demise. So I agree.
I feel like it's a two-way street. I feel like, yeah, this could be a ploy to get money, but it could be due to the simple fact that she did endure a lot of traumatic stress over the years, and she finally have somebody in her corner to speak up and say, "Hey, make him pay for all the things that you went through." But it could be, like I said, a two-way street. It's definitely money that's gonna be the root of it all. But I mean, the girl did. I feel like she probably did have some Stockholm syndrome, and this is a ploy for her to get payback in some type of way.
I thought he cashed out already. So she wants more money.
That's what it allegedly appears to be from what we've gathered thus far.
I mean, I think that says a lot on his own.
I mean, I thought we was damn near past and done with the Tory Lanez thing, right? Um, but now you have this so-called witnesses. Now you about to speak out against the situation. Uh, I'm trying to figure out why wouldn't the defense bring him in anyway? I mean, did they try to bring him in, but they told him that his testimony wasn't necessary? I don't know. Look, whatever they believe or whatever it at least opens up the opportunity for the man to get another trial. I mean, I really think it does, especially with this type of evidence, and especially being that he wasn't able to testify in the first hearing. I think it really opens a door for that man to get an opportunity. Hopefully, his lawyers are taking notes and seeing this and pushing it. You know what I'm saying? At least give him that opportunity. For we've seen way too many times an innocent man go to jail for damn near nothing. And guess who has to pay for that? Us as taxpayers. They're gonna sue the state. They're gonna sue the police departments, and sometimes they even sue the people that prosecuted them. I mean, so we're going to end up paying for this somehow, some way. So at least to try to avoid shit like that, and you got situations like what we got now, yeah, I think that man deserves a retrial. At least hear what this witness has to say under oath, and give the prosecutor the opportunity to cross-examine to make sure he's credible and all that good stuff, and then just go from there.
I was having this discussion maybe a couple of days ago, and it was in reference to this Cassie and Diddy, where a woman that's the age like 18, 19, 17, they're being groomed at an early age because they're not mentally there yet. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think that even though it was consensual in a lot of ways, allegedly, in the beginning, do you think that that's still grooming, even though a woman that young may consent to doing so?
I personally feel like, and that's why I was saying this might be some Stockholm syndrome stuff, where she's been in this relationship with this man for so long. She started off really young. He probably showed her a whole life that she's never had before, and probably threatened, hey, I'll send you back. Remember with the whole Jocelyn and Stevie J? Used to be like, I'll send you back to the streets. And she'll be like, I'm not going back to the strip club. I feel like at this point, that's probably what it was. It was probably a Stockholm Syndrome situation where she was introduced to a life that she never had before. And she was like, well, I guess if I got to deal with this and do this to make sure that I'm taken care of, and she probably taking care of her family too, it's probably that same situation. I feel like that's what it probably was. And like I said, now she is in a relationship where she's probably have some PTSD from that. And this man she's with is like, okay, there's no way you can get him back in any other way than to do it a legal way. Break him for all he got. That's the only thing I can think of.
I think it's interesting, and of course, not to victim blame or anything of that nature, but for this woman to have once been with Ryan Leslie and then to leave him for Diddy, I mean, that on its own shows that there's no grooming here. This is literally just a decision that she wanted to make because she wanted something more. She wanted more money, more exposure, more fame. So with that, she made the decision to, experience what she did. Was it good, or was it beneficial, or was it wrong? Of course it's wrong. Of course, all of those things weren't worth it. But to say that it's grooming, I think that we're taking away the accountability of a person to willingly make a decision to leave a potentially healthy relationship with Ryan Leslie, but to go for Diddy because she knows what comes with that. So I think to label that as grooming is a bit of a reach.
Oh yeah, no, Viz summed that up, great in my opinion. When I hear these situations, I don't believe that there aren't cases where women are put in exchanges that may be toxic, may be damaging. However, it's always convenient that they never complain about the benefits that come with this, said exchange. We all seen the tape when it came to how Diddy, at one point started to mishandle this woman. So I don't condone that in no shape or form. However, like Viz said, this was conscious. Like, when do we start to hold women accountable for their choices to participate in the benefit of these exchanges? And then all of a sudden, when it go left, now you want to, involve the courts. Now you want to say you've been traumatized. Now you want to say all of a sudden you weren't aware. It's nonsense. I would like to see society develop to that level, because once you become 18, 21, 25, we give you the onus to vote. We give you the onus to buy homes. We give you the onus to serve the country. You telling me that you're not smart enough to know how to navigate a relationship, but you can legally birth a child? So yeah, I'll let it there.
So you guys don't think it's possible that somebody can make a mistake, or somebody can be subconsciously doing something and not realize the magnitude of it, and then realize it later, and then look back at it?
I personally just want to say, yes, she made the conscious decision to leave Ryan Leslie. She did. He was a star in himself. But at the end of the day, we've all heard rumors. And if you haven't, then let me introduce you to how Diddy has been abusive to women to years. Prime example, Kim Porter. There's a lot of people that's still saying that he possibly has had something to do with her death. So my thing is, what if she was genuinely scared to leave out of a situation? Yeah, she put herself into it, but she probably didn't know the risk that came along with it. What if she was genuinely terrified to leave this situation? That's the only thing I'm saying.
But see, that's interesting that you say that, Kim, because I assume you're a person who lives a normal life to some degree. I'm assuming. I don't believe you're famous, right? So for you to come into that, knowledge of what Diddy's threat level is, you operating in your daily capacity, this woman was semi-connected. She didn't have the same information. She didn't hear these same rumors. Like that's where I hear you. And this, I've only been a man my whole life. This is the reason why I wouldn't date a stripper. I wouldn't date a woman who has an OnlyFans. I wouldn't date a woman who maybe even at one time did drugs, especially, something hard, because there's something that occurs with that person, right? But when we flip it, it's always this, women will see the glitz and the glam. Oh yeah, there's a threat, but I'm gonna ignore that until those demons show up knocking. Now all of a sudden they innocent, Just, that's the part that is hard for me to digest. But I'll land it there.
I'm gonna just say I don't think she's innocent at all. Let's start there. I don't think she's innocent at all, especially some of the things that I've heard about her doing to be spiteful towards Kim Porter and to be like a very spiteful person in other relationships. I don't think she's innocent. However, do I think she made a mistake? Yes. Do I think she did really go through some crazy shit? Absolutely. And I feel like the things that she went through, I'm not, like you said, I'm regular schmegular. I'm not in the Hollywood limelight, but we can only imagine the things that, just from the cases that we've heard with her and these sores and being in these opiates and things of that nature. Only thing I can think of, not saying that she's innocent. I feel like she loved it until she didn't. I'm gonna just say that. She loved it until she didn't. And then she started to realize that she got older, and also just, I think her living the past life and her trying to live a normal life now is bothering her. And that's where I feel like this is where she's coming from in regards of trying to get some type of payment for distribution. I feel like she really does have PTSD. And I feel like she knows she was wrong, but at the end of the day, who was in the worst? Who was wrong? Who was the worst person in the situation? This is what I think about that.
A woman's score is dangerous. We've seen this once way too many times, man. How vindictive they can be. They can just say anything to the law, to your own family, to their family, and it could cost you your freedom or your life. I know we all remember the situation with the Rudolph guy, the former wide receiver of the Giants, as well as the Florida State Seminoles, how his ex-girlfriend wouldn't had an issue with him. And who did she complain to? Her overly feminine brother. And he was ready to ride with whatever she had to say. And knowing she was lying, she was willing to put her own flesh and blood in jeopardy in order to get back. Because why? Because she's scorned, she's hurt, she was in her feelings. So yeah, that's definitely dangerous. And part of what I be saying, men, protect yourself, man. That's part of it, man, because you never know what's going on between them ears. You know what I'm saying? You go out there and doing wrong one time, and sometimes it only take a big situation. If you had to make some type of adjustment or change, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm going to have to break this date off. Now she feels embarrassed. She feels like you disrespected her. You know, she could just blast you. This little dick motherfucker ain't shit. He gay anyway. I don't even know why I ain't got with him. But some women could move and operate and say that and ruin your reputation, cost you your job or your living. So yeah, for sure, I definitely agree with a scorned woman could be definitely a dangerous woman.
All right. Should a woman's new husband be allowed to influence her into taking legal action against her ex?
I feel like if it caused her bodily harm, or if it caused her to where she is damaged for life, absolutely. If it's something that was minute, such as a disagreement in regards of their I don't know, a business or something, then I feel like no. But I feel like if bodily harm and she really needs somebody to be there as a support system, yes.
Would
Well,
that be that with the motivation of that impact that, because if they're going for it solely for monetary gains compared to closure or putting this person in prison, would that be a factor, or is that not a factor?
For strictly monetary gains, I feel like, yeah, I'm gonna say yes and no. Reason being because there's different laws to where there's expiration dates on situations that have occurred where that person cannot be fined and cannot go to jail. So if that's the only way that you can get even with this person without going a dirty route and causing them harm yourself, then yes.